This is Spunky.
And Snarky.
And we say,
Welcome to the show. Welcome. And today we're going to look back on a very, very special production to both me and Spunky. This was a show that aired in 1998, and it's the NSYNC Live in Concert special that was on the Disney Channel.
On July 18th, it'll be the 22nd anniversary of when it aired live.
And this is the day that changed our lives forever because we became huge NSYNC fans and fell in love with them mostly because of this concert.
I think everyone did because this really broke them in America. Because according to Wikipedia, their album was sitting at 83 on the charts, and after this aired, it jumped to number 9.
And for only an hour concert special, I mean, that's pretty big stuff. Anyway, let's get into talking about the concert and our special memories of it.
All right, so the NSYNC episode aired on July 18th, 1988 on the Disney Channel and was filmed at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World. The concert was first offered to the Backstreet Boys, but they had to back out due to Brian Littrell needing heart surgery. This ended up making NSYNC's career in America.
So the concert starts with NSYNC kind of huddled backstage and they do their little mantra before running out, and then they start off with Crazy for You. I wanna rock with you, I'm crazy for you. And that's what I kind of like about their older songs. They're really funky. But anyway, they got some super duper 90s fashion on. It's ridiculous. I forgot how baggy the pants were. Or maybe I just blocked it out. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in my middle school days and the early 90s, you had the saggy pants. But these were more super wide leg baggy pants.
These are cargo upon cargo pants. Seriously, you could probably fit a rolled up sleeping bag underneath
one of those
pants.
You could fit two members of NSYNC in those pants.
So they all got these a very cargo-y pants on. JC's got the open dress shirt with the cargo vest on.
It's super strappy and it kind of looks like a utility vest, I guess, or a photographer's vest. I don't know. It's really weird.
90s fashion, what can we say? I'm surprised Clorox is still in business after all the bleach that is on these boys' heads. Between Lance and Justin, they are beyond bleach blonde.
Justin has his ramen noodle hair.
Legit.
Oh, and can we talk about Justin's pants? Because he's got these baby blue, which is his favorite color, by the way. I know that from Teen Beat. Anyways, they look kind of like basketball pants, but they're long, they're not short. Probably a jersey knit, but it looks kind of shiny.
And then he's got his metallic silver Adidas jacket. And let's see, Joey Fatone has some purple pants with spiral designs in them.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, but then he had a nice black dress shirt on.
He was showing some chest.
Medallion. I wrote in my notes, Fatone cleavage. No joke. Let's see. Lance also had the 90s dress shirt.
He had the open plaid shirt.
It was he stepped right out of 10 Things I Hate About You. That kind of look. And then we have poor Chris Kirkpatrick.
He's wearing camo overalls over an orange shirt with black and white triangles.
All I can say is at least you'll never look as bad as you did at that moment in your life. Because the poor guy, I think he still had braces and stuff then. And then he had to wear the Kid and Play dreads. And it's just we all know he hated those dreads. That's why he cut them off after.
He looks so much better without them.
He does. But yeah, so that was the 90s fashion and it was pretty awful. Moving along, they come out, they're dancing to Crazy for You, and then they kind of go into a little Michael Jackson Rock With You, and oh my god, JC's voice on this was so good. His vocal, damn, he kills it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because the choreography for this one's not really much, but they're working the crowd and doing what needs to be done. And then their bass player comes out, and I got to talk about him for a minute because he's wearing some fishnet shirt.
Oh god, yeah.
He's got some greasy hair with the goatee, but I don't even mind because he was rocking it with the funky bass and he's bringing the funk, bringing the noise.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even mad.
So then they cut to an interview segment, and they're going to be doing this a lot where they like cut between songs and interviews. And they're at the Tree of Life at Disney's Animal Kingdom. There's a lot of Disney theme park product placement in this episode. Anyways, they talk about the beginnings of the group and how they met. And then they cut to each of the boys talking about one another and, you know, their qualities and what they like about them.
They're kind of talking about how they formed the group themselves and all that. But I got to take a minute to talk about Justin has these like alien-shaped sunglasses on.
God, those were super big in the 90s too.
I remember like aliens for a while were like a thing in the 90s. But they're like elongated, like football shaped purple alien eyeglasses, and he looks awful. But but it's funny because like listening to him talk too back then, he's like so young and humble and like it's cute. So then we're cutting back and they start going to I just wanna be with you. Girl, that's all I want to do. And so Joey's hyping up the crowd. Again, their baggy pants are just out of this world. It's funny to me because I'm like into K-pop and I watch a lot of shows where they show like 90s K-pop. And a lot of people wear like these baggy outfits and have these like kind of simple dance moves. And I didn't equate that with America. Being like that and watching this, I'm like, oh my god. NSYNC was totally like these old K-pop groups like Sotaji and the Boys where they like danced and had the baggy clothing, and it kind of blew my mind in that regard. But their choreography is kind of really simple and not like I remember NSYNC to be, so I assume they got better towards like their second album. So they interject to like talk about their friendship and stuff, but it really bothers me because they cut to this segment in the middle of the fucking song.
Yeah, they do that quite a bit, which is kind of annoying.
And I'm like, just finish the song and then I'll listen to your segment. But no, need to have the break now.
They show them on like other rides at Disney World, and they're at an arcade, and they show them playing basketball, and they talk more about their friendship. And then there's this cute segment with Lance where Lance is like, he's really bad at basketball. He gets made fun of for it, but he likes to try new things, and it's just super adorable. I totally like fell in love with Lance rewatching this because he was not even my bias back then, but I just find him adorable now.
So they come back to the stage. I just want to give a shout out to JC because I wasn't feeling him as much back in the day, but he is like totally like the vocal backbone of this group.
You know, after watching this, I felt the same way. Like, I didn't have an appreciation for JC. Even though I liked him back when I used to watch him in the Mickey Mouse Club, like I always thought he was a good singer. But for some reason, when NSYNC, like, I don't know, he was probably like my least favorite member. I didn't hate him or anything.
I think probably just because he's like the serious one, or not. Yeah. Whereas everyone else is like super charismatic.
Yeah, maybe that's why. But especially later when we talk about his segment, that totally won me over.
Yeah. So now we switched over to God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You. God must have spent a little more time on you. This song is so cringe, but it just still has a special place in my heart.
The funny thing is, and I put this in my notes, we still do the hand motions from the Never Can Keep part every time we hear the song. True story.
Like a secret that I never could keep. Which is so much better than being a secret no one knows like an bop. So
no one knows. Oh.
But yeah, there's like a finger motion like going down for Never Could Keep, and like we can't listen to the song without doing it because it's ingrained in our soul.
Yeah, I think when we saw them live, we did it too. Probably.
I'm sure we did. It's just like one of those things. Like, yeah. You can't listen to Heat of the Moment without doing the clap. Like you can't listen to this without doing the finger motion. It's just one of those things. So once again, in the middle of the song, they cut to Justin and Chris, who are going on this virtual roller coaster ride that Justin designed, and you just see them like screaming and freaking out, and then when they get off, they're all like, oh, and Chris is like, he designed that? I'm gonna go hit him in the head.
But the funny thing before that was the attendant says, oh, if you get scared, you can hit this button. And Justin's like, you better not press that button. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was really cute. And so we go back to the concert, and now it's time for Giddy Up. And they like swagger out
With the shades on.
And it's all super funky, and I love it. Like, this song is still a jam. It's like, tried to get a hold of you last night.
Called you on the phone.
Thinking to myself something ain't right.
Girl, are you alone? Okay, that line still cracks me up to this day. I don't know why.
Because it's deep, and because we usually insert instead, girl, I need a bone. But because that's what the song is about.
Oh yeah, like, let's be real. And plus you get like some Lance Shine doing his bass.
So they go into the interview in the middle of the song once again, and we got Joey's talking about riding jet skis and Lance talking about riding horses at Bible camp. But we all know that this song ain't about jet skis and ain't about horses. It's about Girl, I Need a Bone. So we get back to the concert and the giddy up. Giddy up. And like they do this thing at the end where their main dance move for this number is like the hunch over butt wiggle. Thank you, Disney, for giving us the back view on that. And we also got Justin beatboxing, which is not bad.
So then we cut back to JC, and he's in the Transcontinental Records studio. Lou Pearlman. We're not going to go into his shit. Anyways, JC's like sitting at the piano. He talks about how he likes to make jazz versions of their songs. And he plays like the piano and sings a jazz version of Crazy for You.
My kind of guy, like heart pitter patter on this.
He says that he's the serious one in the group. He's basically the mom of the group. He tries to keep everyone on time and like make sure they're serious.
And he's like doing these jazz versions of like I Want You Back, and like his vocals are masterful. Like, no joke. Not even that big fan of him, but his vocals are on point. Like, he can sing.
I was thinking after watching this, I'm like, why didn't he have a bigger solo career? He should have been up there with Justin.
But
legit.
You know why I think when he came out with his solo song, it was not the right song.
Blowing me up with her love.
Yeah, and he had the Jesus hair, and it was just like...
I think he was trying too hard to compete with like Justin's sound at the time.
Yeah, I think it was the wrong song for him, the wrong look. It was just, the good person, but the wrong time. It wasn't
They probably
right for him.
Packaged him wrong or whatever.
Yeah, I seriously think that was the problem, because the song wasn't necessarily bad.
He could probably sing the phone book and it would probably sell because he's just got that voice.
It might have been better for him to come out with like a slow jam.
Yeah,
instead
some
of like
R&B
a dance jam. I really wish that they did like a slow version of this I Want You Back that he did in one of their later concerts, because it would have been like so good with all of them doing the harmonies.
Yeah, an acapella.
And that's something else I want to talk about, like, because I watched this and like I said, I didn't think their dance moves were all that great, like looking back on it, but their harmonies, oh my God, are still so on point and so good in like almost all of the songs. Like, even if you don't like them, if you don't like pop music, whatever, but these boys can sing.
JC also talks about how like they know that there's like a million other groups doing this, but they want to be one of the few that stick around for a long time, and they feel the only way they can do that is by being themselves, because people will see through an act, they'll see through phoniness, and they're not phony, they're keeping it real.
Like, JC has said a couple things over the years that I remember that like really kind of endear me to him. Like, one, him talking about NSYNC's popularity and like being like, it's not Beatlemania, but it's really cool. I like that. And I also liked one interview he had said before that like rappers talk about being in the hood in their life, and they're white and from the suburbs, so that's why their songs are about having fun in the suburbs. So I like that he's already got that like authenticism already.
So we cut back to the stage where they perform I Want You Back, and the crowd is screaming and going crazy because this is only one of two songs they know at this point in NSYNC's career, besides Tearing Up My Heart, which had only come out a month earlier.
I had to kind of laugh at some of the dance moves because they did this one thing where they kind of do a body roll and they bump their chest 3 times, like doing the body rolls and these like fast movements. And also like at one point there was like the karate kick move. It's just kind of funny. I don't want to beat on them too much because I know they're good dancers. It's just the time period. Like, there wasn't that many good dance groups back then, but
I wrote in my notes, they do a body roll train.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they cut to the boys on the tour bus where Joey gives them a tour. Then they go back to the stage and then they perform You Got It.
You got it.
I want it. I'll do whatever it takes.
Chris's vocals really shine for me on this song. Like there's a lot of those high notes and he does the little falsetto notes like really well.
He's like really backing up JC and Justin on every single take. And it's like he does not get the credit he deserves.
He has a really, really good voice. Like he takes it to church with these money notes. At one part, there's this really funny moment where Joey Fatone like booty bumps Justin on the side, and like Justin makes this face like he in pain, and that kind of cracked me up.
And then they cut away from the song again, showing the boys talking about how they love their fans and they'll do anything for them.
When Lance is talking about the fans, it's kind of like in his head, he's probably like, some of these people be batshit crazy though.
Well, I don't know if they were at the point where they had the batshit crazy fans yet.
I mean, they showed people screaming and stuff, but anyway.
Girls with hormones will scream at anything.
Then they kind of showed this little girl who I guess got to approach them and have a little photo op, which was nice. But it's super funny because she's talking to the camera and she's all like, I'm shaking, I can't believe I met them. And then you just see JC like randomly like running in the background. I'm like, is the bus leaving without him? Like,
he's like, guys, wait up.
Because it wasn't like a planned thing. He was like running for something. They cut back to You Got It and they're doing the harmony of the yeah, they got the jams, I'm telling you. And they do this like group walking choreography together,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. And then they put out their hand and I'm like, is this like I'm walking the invisible dog moment? But then they close in and like Joey's doing like a tiny jazz hand, but like these are not spirit fingers, like these are spirit fingers, which I thought was really funny. So Chris runs and Joey like does this flip with him, which is kind of cool, and the crowd's loving it, and they're putting their hands in the air and waving them like they just don't care. And then they do this little remix at the end with the I thought I told you that we won't stop, I thought I told you that we won't stop. And then they cut to a clip and show their families, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, they talk about how their like parents really helped them out, especially Justin's mom pretty much went on the road with them when they were like in Europe, because before NSYNC broke America, they got their start in Europe. That's why their first album sounds really Europop, and they made it in Germany, and then they decided they wanted to come over here and try to make it.
They show Chris's mom too, and she's kind of funny because she's like, he's still my son and he's still doing chores and stuff. So that's cute. Back to the stage, and it's time to make an ocean of people and sail. So they do Sailing, the cover of the song by Christopher Cross, and I really enjoyed this performance, and JC killing me with these vocals. I keep saying this, they're probably getting old, but like he does this really high falsetto in the song and is the main vocal.
I also want to give a shout out to Christopher Cross, who has COVID and he had some complications, so I want to give a get well soon to him. So they cut to an interview with Joey, and he talks about how they knew when they joined the group that they were going to have to make sacrifices, such as sleep and not having girlfriends or a normal life, but, you know, they wouldn't change anything. Then they showed Lance talking about how it's 2 a.m. and they're doing rehearsals for this concert. Then Justin says sometimes he wants to go back to a normal life, but then he remembers how much he loves doing this and how unhappy he would be not doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of the
catch-22 of being famous.
Well, and it's, yeah, gotta say how much we love our fans, even though sometimes they're cray-cray. But that's the face you gotta put on as an entertainer.
It's like, don't bite the hand that feeds you, kind of. You don't want to piss off your fans.
And long story short, don't be an asshole. So now they cut back to the stage, and the boys come out in new clothes, which is like black pants for everyone, a colored dress shirt, and then like most of them have like a black
suit jacket. Except for Joey, because he had a vest on. Anyway. Yeah, they all had different colored shirts.
But enough about their fashion, because here we go.
Here we go, one more time. Everybody's feeling fine. Here we go.
Yes, 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 here we go. NSYNC has got the flow.
Yeah, this is the jam.
Also, what we'd sing when we had our period.
TMI.
They had the crowd doing the NSYNC has got flow. The choreography spotlight for this number happens to be the raising the roof while you're twirling into the group formation, and then raising the roof while you're twirling out of the group formation. Just so you know. Oh, and I also noticed here that Justin was wearing his NSYNC gold chain, which I thought was kind of funny.
I think Joey was earlier too. I don't know if he was at this point, but I think I saw it earlier when he had his black open shirt on.
Oh, can we mention also that like their gold hoop earrings were like cracking me up? I know Joey and Justin both had like their little small gold hoop earrings on.
That was a style back then.
Oh, they also had like a down on one knee and kind of twirl choreography, which I actually kind of liked. And don't forget the multiple karate kicks. I don't know if Mr. Miyagi did their choreography, but there was definitely some like waxing on and waxing off going on.
And then they cut to each member and they're pretty much talking about how they hope to be around for a long time and to follow your dreams. Then they cut back to the stage and perform Tearing Up My Heart.
Tearing up my heart when I'm with you, and when we are apart, I feel it too. And no matter what I do, I feel the pain with or without you. In this song, they definitely got a real choreographer or something, because like the choreography is a lot better. Like there's more little details going on and stuff. There's this one part where the three in the back did like backflips at the same time, and it was in sync. Yeah, they're killing it on this one. Justin's even got some sweat on his shirt. So that's the last song of the concert. Everyone's sad. But as they leave, Joey and JC do this funny little shtick where like Joey picks up JC and is like flying him around like Superman. And then once it ends, like JC like falls over on the ground and passes out.
Yeah.
And it was really cute.
And then they cut back to like little interview segments where each member says something. Lance says, stay dedicated and always have something to fall back on. Joey says, always try your best. Chris says, you can be a nobody one day, be a big star the next day, and then be a nobody after that. JC says, have respect for everybody. And Justin says, whatever your dream is, you have to practice your craft and make it the best that it possibly can be.
And Snarky says, don't be an asshole.
And Spunky says, only you can prevent forest fires.
Wait, you don't want to take a bite out of crime?
No, I went Smokey the Bear instead of Rough McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. Why do I still know that?
Everyone knows that.
It's ingrained in my brain.
Snarky says, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? The world may never know.
That's true. I remember seeing NSYNC on, not TRL, but before TRL, there was just Total Request, which was like, they had like 5 songs on a Thursday on MTV, still hosted by Carson Daly, but they would, do the top 5 of the week. And I remember seeing the I Want You Back video on that. I'm like, this is a pretty good song, but I wasn't too into it at the time. Snarky, you had this on cassette, right?
Yeah, thanks for making me feel old.
I'm surprised they still made cassettes back then, because that would have been like 98.
I feel like that was probably one of the last cassettes I got.
Yeah.
Either that or like the single of Come and Ride the Train that I think I bought at Walgreens. That's beside the point. Whatever, I can still smell those tranquil breezes from a mile away.
I love that
Don't
song.
hate.
I'm not even hating. Anyways, she had the cassette, but I hadn't heard it. And then after this concert, I was like, I gotta go and get the CD because these jams are like too much for me to handle. I need them in my life.
She was too legit to quit.
Hey. Too legit to quit. Sorry, we always go off on these random songs.
That's my life. I can't help it. I really enjoyed watching this concert back. I mean, I forgot a lot of things like
Me
the
too.
fashion of the choreography, but like also just how good of singers they really were. Like
Yeah.
when you think about boy bands, you discredit them in a lot of ways. And, they were really good harmonizers, like with each other. That's what impressed me most. It was funny just seeing the hairstyles and everything else and them so young. But yeah, it was a good show. And it was only an hour, which still kind of blows my mind too. I know I have this concert recorded on VHS somewhere.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the original airing because I think we watched this
Yeah.
that day.
It's definitely one for the vaults, and I'm glad we took some time to look back on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in, 22 years.
And I really liked that their first album had a lot of like kind of funky jams too.
But they also did a lot of covers and they also did some slow jams. So it was like kind of a mix of everything.
I mean, not all the songs were the greatest,
But they were okay for what they were.
but I liked the overall vibe.
Yeah. Now we're entering the brain basement. We're going to talk a little bit about our NSYNC fangirl stories
And pipe dreams.
and some other things. Okay, so after watching the concert, I totally fell in love with Justin Timberlake.
I was a Joey Fatone fangirl. I always pick not the most popular ones for some reason.
I usually did too, but for some reason I didn't with Justin. I don't know.
But we were super young. We came up with this like scheme that we wanted to go see them at the county fair because that's what they were doing.
So they were playing at the Santa Clara County Fair, which is a ways away. At the time, I didn't drive. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a driver's license. And I knew our mom was not going to take us because she don't drive long distances.
Well, it's kind of funny because like as an adult today, like it's really like maybe an hour away. But our mom put in our head like, oh, that's too far away. Like
Yeah.
whereas like I go to San Jose or down there all the time to like see concerts and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So, like, my friend was with us trying to get tickets too. She fell in love with them as well. Anyways, the only way to get in was to win tickets on the radio. So, long story short, we couldn't go because we couldn't get tickets and we didn't have a ride. So, me being savvy, I went on the internet to see where are they playing next. You know, maybe there's somewhere closer we can go and see them. Well, the closest county fair to us was in Utah. And I don't know why, but, you know, young 17-year-old me was like, oh, that's not that far away.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because
It
Santa
totally
Clara
is.
is far away, but Utah, which would be like a 14-hour drive.
Yeah, it was probably my friend who put this in my head too, because she's like the queen of pipe dreams.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, we'll go to Utah. And we're like planning out this whole thing.
Not really planning it out, but like.
Well, we started to like we getting maps and shit. I was on the internet. I was like trying to find places we could stay, and like you know, this is before you had like a GPS.
Yeah.
My friend was like, I'm gonna convince my dad to take us. So we called her dad up because she was at our house, and he's like, I'm not going to fucking Mormon land. Sorry to any Mormons listening, but that's just how her dad was at the time. He was a character, R.I.P. But yeah, he was just like, no fucking way.
We did eventually get to see them on their later concert tours.
That's another story, too. Our first NSYNC concert experience. So, fast forward to the next year, 1999. I had just graduated high school. It was the summertime. And one day I get a phone call from my friend, the same friend I was talking about before. And she says her other friend had tickets to NSYNC but couldn't go. And do I want to go? And I was like, yeah, I want to go. Now, by this time, I had a car. I had a driver's license. So I was like, okay, we're totally going. So I asked my mom if I can go. And she's like, hell no. You just got your driver's license like 6 months ago and you're not ready and there's no way you're driving a long distance. It was like not even that far. It was like a 30-40 minute drive. And I'm like, no, I have to see NSYNC. Like I have to. And my friend's dad, like I think something happened to their car at the time, so they didn't have a car. But I'm like, we're going regardless. We just have to go. Then fate intervened. My cousin calls up my mom and says she has 2 tickets to NSYNC because her daughter, I guess, got grounded or something and can't go. And so then my mom's like, okay, so now my sister can go and now my mom can take us. But she's freaking out because she don't want to drive either. But she's like, was like, fine, I'll do it. And so the 4 of us got on the road. 40 minutes later, we were at the NSYNC concert on the shitty grass seats, but we didn't give a fuck because we were seeing NSYNC.
I don't know why. I remember our second NSYNC concert experience like a lot more. Like, because we had to go to Tower Records to get the tickets. It was like a lottery. So even though you were there super early,
sucked.
they fucked you. And they kind of started having like phone and online orders too. So while you're waiting in line, tickets are going away. And it was just a whole clusterfuck.
Not to mention, we got there at 5 a.m. There was already a line there.
Yeah, but because they decided to do a lottery system, like we didn't even...
We just basically got fucked.
And then so it was at Oakland Coliseum and we were like in the bleeds, but I still like enjoyed it. Pink opened for them and it was cool.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was no strings attached and their choreography was super good and they were super good live.
I just want to add, in the 1999 concert, the opening act was Jordan Knight and Shanice. They were both really good. This is around the time Jordan Knight's song Give It To You was out.
That was a good song.
And Shanice had her like comeback too. I forget what her comeback song was though. But
Psych, cause I love your smile.
do 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 do. I know that's one of your
I
favorite
love that
songs.
song.
Yeah.
Don't get me started, because I'll be like, I came and showed you my direction. I really don't know the words, though, obviously. But
I also saw them on the Pop Odyssey tour, and that was like my final time I saw them. And they were really good too on that one. But I don't know, I always loved the first one the best.
they'll always be like my first boy band like crush, and I love them a lot, and I'm a huge BTS fan now, so I guess I still am a boy band fan.
Yeah, I mean, our first concert was New Kids on the Block, but it was different because I was so young when New Kids were around. I was only 10 when
Oh,
they hit it
I was
big.
7, so
Yeah, like it was different. Like I had like the one member I liked, but I don't know, it wasn't the same as NSYNC for me. I guess because I was at that right age, even though I was a little older fan because I was like 17 at the time. But still, Justin's only like a month younger than me. Maybe it seemed more attainable. I don't know. As a kid, I always loved Kids Incorporated and MMC, and I knew JC from MMC because that's like the era that I watched, but I didn't know Justin because I never watched that Justin, Christina, Brittany, Ryan Gosling era because I guess I didn't have Disney Channel at the time.
Yeah, back in the day, Disney Channel was like a premium channel
Yeah.
where you had to like subscribe to it and pay extra.
It was like
and
HBO.
And my family was not about that.
Well, our mom did buy it for 3 months. That's how I got to see a lot of it in, I think, 92, 93.
Yeah, but other than that, you wait for the like preview week or whatever, and then you watch it as much as you could.
Yeah, I have tapes with MMC and Kids Incorporated on it because that's all I would do. I'm like, oh, free preview weekend? Hell yeah, I'm taping all this shit. All right, can we talk about The Masked Singer for a minute? Well, Joey was on the first season as the bunny, but we want to talk more about last season because the both of us freaking swore that astronaut was Chris Kirkpatrick.
We swore up and down because he had the high range like Chris, and a lot of people don't know Chris's voice, and they were guessing JC, and we're like, no, that is not JC's voice. It was Chris, and then it turned out to be a country singer.
So I was putting the clues together because they had like an airplane. I'm like thinking, oh, like Transcontinental Records. And then they had like a broken record. I'm like, oh, NSYNC, No Strings Attached was the biggest selling album of all time for like a while.
But speaking of our pipe dreams from the past, we were getting all these pipe dreams like, oh, this is going to be Chris and this is going to boost his career. And then NSYNC is going to come back and we'll be able to go see them because we'll have a residency in Vegas. Like, we're just having all these like things going on in our head. And when it wasn't him, it was just like
hella disappointing.
That unmasking was what made my heart break. You got it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So sad.
Last year, Ariana Grande gave us a glimmer of hope with that mini NSYNC reunion, Sans Justin, at Coachella. And I was like, we need like an NSYNC reunion. They had that like mini one at the MTV VMAs. Was it 2013, 2014?
It was a while ago.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, Justin. Like,
we need this. Like, do the residency. It's time.
Or even like a tour or like a new album or something. Like,
it's a time. Like, Boyz II Men are in Vegas. Like, you can be making some money.
If New Kids on the Block could come back, you guys can come back.
It would be so good too. Like, I feel like that's kind of what we need right now. Like,
for sure.
I mean, that's why BTS hitting big in America is because they're filling a gap. Like, they could come back and they don't have to be like super poppy like they were. But if you had some like adult, like a man band music, like I feel like that would appeal to a lot of people right now.
It's like, Justin, your last album didn't do so good. So can we just like get back on the NSYNC bandwagon? I mean, it's been 20 years.
I mean, and do almost that jazzy version of I Want You Back. And
oh my God, that'd be amazing.
My God, get some black pants, suspenders, like some chairs, and do that little I Want You Back. Like, I'm imagining this in my head, and it's all good.
Do a sexy I Want You Back.
Do a sexy, yes, R&B I Want You Back. Like I don't know. It's gonna be good, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then, make up some new songs. Like, get some, I don't know, jazzy hits.
Yeah. We're fucking waiting over here. We're like the Judge Judy gift where she tapping her wrist.
We ain't getting any younger. Come on. We got the money. Like, we're waiting to give it to you. I think that we spent a little too long in the Brave Basement. There's a lot of history.
A lot of memories because we were ride or die NSYNC fans.
And we still are.
All right. So moving on to the music spotlight. All right, now it's time for our music spotlight, where today's topic, of course, is boy bands that we love.
Over all decades. So first we taking it old school and doing a little Jackson 5. I want you back. Oh, I do now.
I want you back.
Hoo hoo, baby.
I want you back.
Honey.
I want you back.
I love this song. It's my favorite Jackson 5 song. Fuck ABC. This is the jam.
I like ABC too.
I like Stop the Love You Save as well.
They have a bunch of good songs.
But, you know.
Rockin' Robin.
They're amazing. Michael was amazing, but then he had to break free. But yeah, they were one of the greats.
All right. And number 2, one of my first favorite boy bands is New Edition with Cool It Now. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. If I like a girl, who cares who you like? Cool it now.
Got to cool it now.
Ooh, watch out.
Before you fall in love.
Yeah, this is the jam.
It is a jam. It's still a jam.
I love New Edition. They came back in '96 with an album, and it was amazing. It was super R&B jams. It's hella good. All right, number 3, boy band we mentioned earlier. First one we ever saw in concert. New Kids on the Block with You Got It, The Right Stuff.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. The right stuff.
You know you're a hit when you're covered by Weird Al, and I know about the white stuff in the middle of an Oreo. I remember the New Kids on the Block cartoon.
Oh my god, that and the Hammerman cartoon.
Taking me back.
That's all I watched on Saturday mornings in the 90s, along with like Ninja Turtles and Garfield and Friends.
Moving along to number 4, we have 98 Degrees, Because of You. 'Cause you're my sunshine after the rain. You're the cure against my fear and my pain. And I'm losing my mind when you're not around. It's all because of you. I really liked 98 Degrees back in the day.
Me too.
Like, they had, like, good harmonies as well.
They were kind of like the white Boys to Men.
Kinda, because they did a lot of ballads. Did they dance? I don't know if they
They
danced.
did a little choreography, I think, but nothing like on the NSYNC Backstreet Boys level.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks that they kind of fell off. I know the one guy is a Chippendales dancer now, and then the Lachey's, and then there was that other one, Justin, that wasn't as good looking as
He
Justin
wasn't that
Timberlake.
bad.
But yeah, they did the soundtrack to Mulan, and that was all my
True to
jams
your
too,
heart.
with Stevie Wonder and all
True
that.
to your heart. Oh, I liked Heat It Up. That was a good
Oh.
one. Heat It Up, I'm down.
I had that album. Last on the list, of course, we had to go with NSYNC because this whole episode's about NSYNC, our favorite boy band. And we picked the song that we really like the most, which is I Lie Awake. I drive myself crazy thinking of you. I really like this song a lot.
I always liked this song because it showcased everyone's vocals.
Chris has amazing vocals on I Drive Myself Crazy, and it should be recognized.
Yeah, like I always liked when Chris and Joey got shine as well. Lance didn't get a lot of shine because he was more the deep voice. The song, it's hella underrated. I don't know why people didn't like it when it was a single, but that's their loss. And we actually have 2 honorable mentions this week. The first one is a boy band that we didn't like back in the day, but we've come to appreciate now as adults. And that's the Backstreet Boys. Everybody,
Yeah,
rock your body.
yeah.
Everybody,
Rock your body right.
Backstreet.
It's back. All right. Dum, bum, dum, dum. Which
Yeah.
is funny. That's the same dum, bum, dum, dum as NSYNC's. But
Yeah, I Want You Back. I just noticed that too.
it's really funny because, you know, there could only be one for us back in the day, and we were like not here for the Backstreet Boys. We dissed them. We did not like them. But as an adult, we see that they got a bum rap. They have really good vocals too, but Brian Luttrell especially has really good vocals.
Yeah. I mean, like, I always kind of secretly dug some of their songs.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It was a
but
rivalry for the ages, I guess.
They're good.
Yeah, we'll give them a shout out now.
Yeah. And then for a second honorable mention, I had to put on New Kids on the Block's Boys in the Band. This is a song that just came out last year, and it pays tribute to all of the boy bands over all of American music, from like the Temptations to currently like One Direction and BTS. It's a really fun song. Debbie Gibson does the hook.
Well, in the video. I don't know if she does it on the actual track. Lance is in the video.
So you should check out the video if you haven't.
It's really funny because they're all like old going into like a school, and like the kids are like, who are these old dudes?
Yeah, they're basically like, we used to be in a boy band and like called New Kids on the Block. It's really hilarious.
Yeah. And that's it for the Music Spotlight. If you want to hear these songs in full, you can check them out on our website.
Well, thanks for joining us on this walk down memory lane. NSYNC was just one of our favorites, and I'm sure you have your own favorite.
If you want to tell us your favorite boy band, you can drop us a line at spunkyandSnarkyShow@gmail.com. Or you can check us out on our website at spunkyandSnarkyShow.wordpress.com. Or you can leave us a voice message on our Anchor page, which is anchor.fm/spunkyandSnarkyShow. All right, thanks for listening and have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.